Hey, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 14th, 2015. The main fire potential impacts will occur across the Great Basin this afternoon. We're looking at some gusty winds and low relative humidities across western Idaho and western Nevada where fields are critical. Wind gusts are generally forecast to be in the 30-mile-an-hour range, though some isolated areas could see gusts as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour. The other concern today is lightning and some gusty winds across central Idaho. Storms are expected to develop across the eastern part of the Great Basin, and on the western periphery of these storms, there is a potential for some isolated dry storms. Over the past 24 hours, there was once again a fair amount of storm activity over the Great Basin, with quite a bit of lightning observed. Much of the lightning that occurred across Nevada and Idaho happened yesterday evening and into the overnight hours. With this storm activity, there were quite a few new starts across the Great Basin with some ongoing larger fires. The water vapor satellite shows a low-pressure system moving onto the western coast of the United States with high pressure over the eastern part of the area. And that low-pressure system, as it moves onshore, will bring us some gusty winds and drier weather to the western part of the Great Basin. We're highlighting western Nevada and western Idaho this afternoon for those gusty winds and low relative humidities. And as I mentioned earlier, wind speeds this afternoon are expected to be in the 30-mile-an-hour range across the western part of the area. Relative humidities will also be quite low across the western portion of the area, with single-digit humidities forecast across western Nevada. We're also expecting another day with showers and thunderstorms. These storms will be in place across the eastern part of the Great Basin, developing this afternoon, where we have that deeper moisture in place. Storms across the eastern portion of the area will be wetter, while as you move to the west, storms will trend drier. And as I mentioned earlier, there is some concern for some isolated dry thunderstorms across portions of central Idaho. On Saturday, we'll see the dry air continue to make its way east, and as a result, storm activity will be pushed to the south and east, with drier air moving into the north. Winds will be lighter on Saturday behind the cold front that's expected to move through this afternoon, and temperatures will also be a few degrees cooler. Looking at Sunday, we'll see that drier air remaining in place across the northern part of the Great Basin. And as a result, any storm activity on Sunday that occurs will be quite minimal, and mainly over the higher terrain of central Utah. Wind speeds will remain quite light on Sunday. Moving into Monday, we will see another low-pressure system making its way into the northwestern part of the country, and as a result, we'll see gusty winds once again make their way into the northern part of the Great Basin. This storm will continue its way eastward on Tuesday, bringing another cold front through the Great Basin, and as a result, we'll see another period of gusty winds Monday and Tuesday with that system. Moving into Wednesday and Thursday, we'll see northwest to westerly flow remain in place across the Great Basin, meaning that temperatures will be slow to warm. Looking at the current field conditions, ERCs are trending upwards over the western part of the Great Basin. I've highlighted GB4 and GB9 because that's where there is a concern for gusty winds and low relative humidity this afternoon. And you can see that the ERCs in these two areas have been trending upwards, although they still remain below what they normally would be at this time of year. Finally, looking at the 8 to 14-day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above average temperatures and below normal precipitation across the majority of the Great Basin. So we're really not looking at any large monsoonal surge of moisture to make its way into the Great Basin over the next 1 to 2 weeks. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us at Twitter. Thanks.